Hello everybody, I'm Thomas Pressel. I'm in charge of the R&D. Very warm welcome to you in the name of the R&D team. And I'm very proud to present you in the name of the whole team the model year 21 of the KTM lineup. So as you know, KTM is a supplier of a very wide range, roughly about 200 different models we will offer you next year again. A lot of them are in e-bike section. But anyway, I show you in the very beginning of this presentation, I show you a rough overview what the next year will bring. This overview shows you on the left side the non-e-bike, the meat bikes as we call them, and on the right side we show them the e-bikes. The brighter the models are highlighted, the newer they are. So it means the bright yellow one are brand new frames for next season, and the darker yellow, it got modified last year. So if we start on the left side, you see we have brand new Ultra frames. So Ultra frame is the entry line of KTM, E-MTB, very important for us, and together with the Chicago frames, they are offering the base of a KTM lineup. We have a brand new frame for that, a very clean looking frame, completely new. We show you in detail a bit later on, but be prepared, very nice frame, 27 inch, 29 inch. Beside the hardtails, we come with the Scarp and Scarp MT, brand new frame last year. So we have a lot of nice new specs for these bikes. We'll show you later in details, but keep in mind. The adventure bike, the Prowler, still a very important section of the KTM lineup. We have this 29-inch bikes, as mentioned, adventure bikes. Next season, even more aggressive, even a bit of touch in the bike park with the new Prowler aluminium one, a very interesting product for you. If we come to the on-road, we have made big efforts on our side for racing, new racing teams. We will race this year the Giro Italia, we will race the Tour de France, also this year a little bit later than usual. And we support these teams also with a team replica. We have a lot of nice new colors for these bikes, for the Revelator Altos. We will show in detail later. And beside the Alto, which is a very important product lineup for us, the LISSE, the Aero Road Race. The LISSE gets a new member in the family in the entry line from about 2,500 euros. We bring a new material for this genuine LISSE frame. Gravel important for all of us. Yeah, starting, it's a new, not so new anymore, but a growing market. And this gravel we brought last year to you a new aluminium frame. Yeah, this frame get used and get continued in different ranges with starting from the real off-road version with the drop bar to an on-road version with fender and carrier, the LFC, and with a flat handlebar version as well for the entry lineup. And top of the line, you will get the new frame, and the carbon frame on top of the line for the Cross Strada. In the middle section, you see the gray one. These are our trekking bikes, non-e-trekking bikes. Nothing, no big news, same frames as in the past. So update of the specifications for sure, but no revolution there. Revolution, there is a revolution. It's at the kit bikes. Yeah, we have completely new lineup at the kit bikes, starting from balance bike up to 26-inch, completely new. So my colleague will show this lineup to you later. Complete new setup, totally new, very light, very clean looking bikes. Really interesting for you. Okay, so let's go to the e-bike section. E-bike section, as mentioned, the brighter the yellow is, the more new this bike, these sections are. So last year we brought to you a complete new frame with the BOSCH CX Generation 4 motor in combination with the PowerTube 625 battery. So we continue for sure this frame, but you will get also this similar looking frame with the 625 watt-hour battery. You will get also with the Generation 3 motor. Completely new lineup, especially very important and especially made for the trekking bikes. So a performance motor, very important for the trekking bikes. Complete new as well, very interesting product, totally different to something what you have ever seen, is the Aera frame. Aera replaces the Scout from last year. So Scout was very successful, but we decided to switch the name of Scout to Aera. So it's our MTB one-tube bike with bigger tires, very safe riding feeling, and we decided to give this Aera a completely new, amazing frame. Looking forward to see it later on. And you will get this Aera frame, you will get in different versions, with fender, without fender, different versions, details will follow. And last but not least, as before at the non-e-bikes, also at e-bikes, kit bikes. Kit bikes, very important. As you know, or you might know, KTM invented e-kit bikes. We were the first who made kit e-bikes. It was the Machina Minimi. And now it was time to make a facelift. It was time to make this product even better. We make it now with PowerTube. It's a completely new frame for 24-inch and 26-inch on the e-bike section for the Minimi. Last but not least, we see the Glorious lineup. As you know, from model year 20, we started with the Glorious lineup very successfully, and we continue for sure in model year 21 as well. You get the special specification for the ladies at the Prowler, at the Scarp, at the Maroon or at the Ultra, and as well at the electric bikes like Machina, LYCAN and Machina Team. So we continue with our successful Glorious lineup in model year 21. Okay, so I will go now a bit deeper in the lineup, but before we enter this deeper detailed specification, one important point I like to mention, the sizing of the bikes, basically same like the years before, but we changed at the MTB, we changed the numbers a little bit. So this year, for model year 21, M size will be 17-inch 43 centimeter, and L size will be an 48 or 19-inch. So we moved the complete S, M, L, XL. We moved one step beside, so it's now L is a size 48 or 19-inch. It was a special wish from many markets out there, so we followed this wish, and it's just important for you to remember that. Okay, so let's go more detailed, more deeper in the lineup. We're starting with the full suspension non-e-bikes, and top of the line, or the first of these MTB full suspensions, will be the Prowler, which I like to present to you. Prowler, you know, it's from the past years. It's our adventure bike, about 150mm travel on the rear. Next year, new with 160mm travel in the front. As mentioned, it's an adventure bike, so for the big tour and the tough tour. But also it's an adventure bike. It's also a bike which gets used from very professional riders in very heavy terrain. For example, Pascal Engel, he is doing even a backflip with such kind of bikes. I would not like to do this, but anyway, you see the bike is capable. It's a tough bike, and the bike can do it. Why can it do it? Yeah, it's the technology. It's a straight line link, like we know from our other bikes, like a Scarp, straight line link, the forces get straight into the rear shock. So when the movement of the rear wheel comes there, go directly to the rear shock. So no forces get into the frame in some bearings somewhere. It goes directly to the shock, so it gets a very sensitive reaction on that and a very reliable function of the rear triangle. You get the Prowler in different specification. The top of the line one will be the Exonic one, and the entry version for carbon will be the Master, as you see here, with this fancy white Onza tires. And if you have a little bit less budget, and if you like to go to the bike park, you're welcome to do this with the Prowler 1964, which is a reworked bike specification, especially for bike parks with a very durable frame. Don't forget about the Glorious, Prowler Glorious, specially adapted specification for our ladies. Very important bike, very important range for us, the Glorious range, and even with the Prowler. So let's go to the SCARP MT. So SCARP MT, MT stands for marathon. It's our 120mm range, 120mm 29 range, 120mm in the front at this Fox Factory 34, and 150mm on the rear with our straight line link at this new this SCARP frame what you got last year new. Especially this SCARP MT frame has a new rear triangle like presented in the model year 20, which is specially made for the single drivetrain, single speed drivetrain, single chain wheel drivetrain with a very straight direction of the chainstay, which offers you an extra on stiffness at this 1600 gram frame. In that case, I show you the SCARP MT Prime. It's a second level bike. Above there's just the Exonic, but the Prime gives you the best from both worlds. That means SRAM AXS in combination with the Fox suspension systems. AXS is a little bit new next year. A little bit, it means there is a new cassette. This new cassette offers you 2 Ts more like in the year before, so now up to 52 Ts, which is even a wider range as before. So as mentioned, top of the line SCARP MT Exonic, and then we come to the Prime, and the Master is the entry of the full carbon SCARP MT. Below that you get the SCARP MT E-Lite and Pro. Both of them, E-Lite and Pro, are coming with aluminium rear triangle. So we get a bit aggressive or more aggressive price point. So even below 2,500 euro, you can enter the SCARP MT world. Okay, so let's come to the SCARP, to the 100mm, to the cross-country version. It's a real race bike. I show you today the SCARP Prime, which is specially made for the tough racing conditions, with the new RockShox SID suspension front and rear, and a complete Shimano XTR drivetrain, especially made for our racers. These bikes are racer approved. For example, our Matthias Krick in-house is now doing marketing here in our house, but he made with such as SCARP already the Crocodile Trophy in Australia. So these bikes are real race approved, and this is really special spec'd with components, especially for the race, with carbon rims, especially to get extra weight out of the wheels, TT Swiss carbon wheels, XTR drivetrain with this straight line link, a phenomenal bike for our racers. If you like to have something more extravagant, if you have a little bit more budget, you can go to the SCARP Exonic, which is top of the line with a Fox suspension front and rear, and the SRAM XX1 AXS drivetrain. If you look for a little bit more budget, full carbon frame, the Scarp Master is the right bike for you. And below Scarp Master, in terms of price range, you get two models with aluminum rear triangle. So aluminum rear triangle for Scarp Glorious or for the Scarp E-Lite. So we are at the entry level of this carbon alloy, we are roughly around €2,500. If you want to get even below that, below €2,000, you can get the complete aluminum frame, which is used in the Scarp 294, but also with 1x12 drivetrain. So all our Scarps with 1x12 drivetrain, full carbon, starting on top of the line, the Exonic, to full aluminum to the Scarp 294.
I want to give you some further details about the Shimano news of the model year 2021. The biggest news are the new Deora group and the Alivio group. The new Deora group is split up in 3 detail groups. In the so-called M6100 group, it's the 1x12 group. In the M5100 group, it's the 1x11 or 2x11 group of the Deora group set. And the third group is the M4100 group. It's the 1x10 or 2x10 group that's new by Shimano. Here you can see a preview of the 1x12 group, the so-called M6100 group. As you can see here, it's a 1x12 group. The crankset is available in 30 or 32 teeth versions, and the cassette is available in 10x51, as you know already from the XTR, Deora XT or SLX group. Here is a preview of the M5100 group, the Deora 11-speed group set. There are 2 versions of the crankset available, in a 1x version and in a 2x version. You can see here on the screen. And there is also a cassette in 2 different versions available. 1151 cassette for the 1x11 solution and 1142 cassette for the 2x11 solution. The third version of the new Deora is the M4100 group set. It's the 1x10 group or 2x10 group. As you can see here, there are also 2 versions of the crankset available and also 2 versions of the cassette. This is a preview of the new Alivio group, the so-called M3100 group set. It's also pretty new, and there is a version in 2x9 speed available. The detailed components you can see here on the screen. The crank is available in 36x22 and also a pretty new cassette in 11x36 teeth. Also on the SRAM side are some detailed news available. Here on the screen you can see the new 3 cassettes for the XX1, X01 and GX group. New is the number of the teeth. You can see a bigger range that begins at 10 teeth and goes up to 52 teeth. That offers a full range of 520%.
Here we go with the maroons. With our top-of-the-line hardtail frames, with our carbon hardtails, you know these frames very well from the past. Still state-of-the-art with the through axle. KTM was the first one who did a through axle on carbon hardtails many years ago. Here we go, still there and still working very well. This frame, which is used at the Maroon Exonic, is below 1000 grams, exactly 950 grams. Like it is here, through axle, fully integrated cable, like the frame here it is. We get the bike, total bike, like it is here, about 8.7 kilograms with the SRAM AXS drivetrain with the Fox factory fork. Your budget is a little bit minimized, so if you don't have €7,000 like here, you go with the Prime, which is very special design for racing. It comes with the new SID fork, it comes with a complete XTR drivetrain, so especially for the racers designed. For even lower budget, with a bit more heavier frame, with a frame which is above 1,200 grams, you can start with the Maroon Pro. So altogether you get 5 different models: Pro, Elite, Master, Prime and Exonic, and additional you get the Maroon Glorious for our ladies, and that's the complete lineup in Maroon. Okay, so let's go with the Ultra frame and Chicago frames, which are totally brand new for next season. Our junior engineer Florian Eisenhut designed these new frames, completely new as mentioned. What's new? The geometry is totally new, a very long reach with 435 millimeter, increased top tube, a more slack head angle gives you more stability when riding it, in total a bit more sportive. Together with the shorter chainstay which you have here at this Ultra frames, it's a very sportive, modern riding feeling. Also it's still okay and good for the everyday use when commuting, because you can fix the kickstand here, you can fix the carrier, you can fix fender, so well prepared for everyday use and for the sportive evening afternoon ride. Very important at this sleek designed frame is the triple butted tube set to give a high-end and light riding feeling for this kind of bike. As you see, these frames are for 1x drivetrains only, so just 1x12, and with fully integrated hiding cables inside the tube. You get this kind of frame with triple butted as seen here, and as I show you right now, in plain gauge tubing for the more entry level, for the more economic versions for the Chicagos. So, and here we go with the Chicago frame. As mentioned, it's the PG frame, so it's the same geometry as we know from the high-end Ultra, from the triple butted version, but with the plain gauge version. So also you get this sportive riding feeling, and you get all the possibilities for the everyday usage for fixing the carrier, mudguard, as you know, since ever from at KTM side. Also, it's an entry frame. You see the fully integrated cable, so very sleek and clean optic. So basically the same, the Ultra and the triple butted and the Ultra plain gauge and the Chicago, basically the same. The difference: triple butted version comes with through axle, plain gauge version comes with QR, but geometry is the same. In total, you get 2 models with the Ultra triple butted, the top of the line, the Ultra 1964 Pro and Comp, so both as mentioned with 1x12. And for the PG version, you get 4 Ultra models: Ultra Sport, Ride, and Flight and Fun. But please note that the Fun and the Flight are also available in 27-inch. The top of the line models are in 29 only. And beside the Ultra Sport, there comes the Ultra Glorious, and beside the Ultra Fun, there is the Ultra Gloriette as the entry level of the Ultra series. The Chicago versions and Penny Lane versions are coming with exactly this frame. You get the Chicago disc in 2 versions, 291 and in the 292, or 271 for the 27-inch and 272 in the 27-inch entry level. There's also a street version, there's also Penny Lane lady versions, there's also Penny Lane street versions. So we have a really wide range of Chicago frames, of Chicago bikes, Penny Lane, very wide range at the very attractive pricing at the entry level of our aluminium hardtail frames. So here we go, from the MTB aluminium frames to the super high-end carbon racing projects. For this year, first time ever, KTM will take part at the Giro Italia and will take part at the Tour de France, as long as COVID-19 will allow us. Giro Italia, we will be with the team Mini Sabu. Tour de France, we will be with our French team, the B&B Vital Concept. So these racers are proving our road bikes, especially the Revelator Altos, very, very hard. For that reason, we give these teams a team replica, or give you a team replica with a special color concept, same color concept like using in the Tour de France, like you see here, with the Vital Concept mint colors and black. So these two replicas will be based on a Revelator Alto Master, like the French one, which is a very, very aggressive, price aggressive bike with complete Shimano Ultegra with a carbon wheelset from TT Swiss. You will be amazed how aggressive we can do this bike in terms of pricing. A bit below, we will get an Ultegra 105 mix for the Revelator Alto E-Lite. And very special for this year is this color scheme you will get. You get a very wide range of colors to be chosen. It means you get this bike in black, you get this bike in white, you get this bike in orange for sure, yes, the new team orange, and for sure you get, it's a very special color, the green purple flip color. So 4 different colors you get, plus the team replica color. So very wide range you get offers at the E-Lite and at the Master. Top of the line, don't forget about the Revelator Alto Exonic with its a frame weight of 800 grams. At bottom of the line you get the Alto Pro with the entry-level frame. So far to the Revelator Alto. Let's go to the Revelator LISSE, the aerodynamic race bikes of KTM. We take over for next season the models from last year, the top of the line models, Revelator LISSE Sonic, Revelator LISSE Prestige, the Master and the E-Lite. And on the bottom of the line there will be a new frame material, performance material, which gives you an entry price range, a very aggressive entry price range, roughly about €2,500 with the mechanical Shimano 105. It's very special. Not everyone can do a mechanical drivetrain to an aerodynamic frame. However, our designer Gerald Wirtenstetter will show you some details about the concept of the Revelator LISSE. Here we go, Gerald.
The Revelator LISSE is our well-known aero road bike frame. This bike is fast, this bike is made to win races. We are very proud of this aerodynamic, iconic frame design. It is aerodynamic shaped from the top to the bottom, and it's all about reducing air drag. Also outstanding is the function of this frame. The cable routing is completely internal from the top to the bottom, even with mechanical shifting components. We developed a special stem to make the bike fitting more easy and also the bike service. For more details, please have a look in our user manual. Every year the aero road bike lineup is getting improved with better wheel sets, with new components for shifting or braking. And for 2021 we developed the Revelator LISSE Pro frame with our KTM Performance carbon fiber. The LISSE Pro is now an aero road bike which is affordable for every bike enthusiast. It is a frame that is made out of the same mold as our team bikes.
So now I present you our new kids bike lineup for 21. Maybe you know our 20th lineup with a big range of different bikes. And for 21 we decided to reduce the models to one line, the lightweight line with rigid fork and V-brake, and the mountain bike line with with suspension fork and disc brake. Our street models are the same as in the model year 20. So now you see here the new frame. Here is our prototype. The new frame has a straight and clean sportive design with lightweight aluminum tubes, the rigid aluminum fork and the V-brakes. The whole frame is made for single chain rings, and the cables are integrated into the frame. Also, there are lots of mounting positions for bottles and fenders, and also an integrated kickstand adapter. For our smallest riders, we have the D-MIX concept, which means that the front wheel is bigger than the rear wheel. The front wheel is especially good for riding over rocks and steps, and the rear wheel, the smaller one, is for a compact frame design and for a low seat position. Also, this high handlebar has a good thing for the seat position for the child. As you can see here, the kids is very upright, like is when they are walking, and so for them it is easier to start to ride a bike. The components for the child bikes are also chosen very well for them, because you have the smaller hands, so you need smaller grips, and so the handlebar has only 19 millimeter. And also the heavy chain looper is for safety. We start with our lineup. This is the smallest one, the balance bike, also with D-MIX. Then we have the pedal bike Wild Cross 12 with the 12 inches in the rear and 14 inches in the front, and the Wild Cross 16. The rear wheel is always the dominating wheel for choosing the right bike for the children's. The 20 inches and 20 to 26 inches bikes are in the left side. There are the lightweight bikes with V-brake and rigid forks. On the right side we have also for the teenies the mountain bikes with suspension fork and disc brakes. In the middle we have the bikes with fender and light. So with this new kids lineup, we think we have sportive bikes for our youngsters to explore the world and have fun with their new bikes.
Here we come to the brand new Machina Mini-Me 24-inch. As you know, you should know, KTM was the inventor of the e-kit bikes. The story started all in 2015. It was one of the most polarizing products on the Eurobike 2015. People were really wondering what's going on there with KTM doing a kit e-bike. And even at that point of time, we created already an industry standard by lowering the maximum support to 20 kilometers per hour, by deactivating the walk assist at the 24-inch version. So we created in 2015 already a standard, an e-bike, kit e-bike standard, which is today everywhere in the world. 26-inch version, which I'll show you later, comes with walk assistance with 25 kilometers per hour, but the 24-inch version here reduced to 20 kilometers per hour to give extra safety to your kids. So the plan of this new bike, of the new Mini-Me, was to get a really clean looking bike, same looking like the Machina Team, for example. So power tube battery, 400 watt hours at the 24-inch version. The Active Plus motor gives you more than enough power for your kids, and the frame is fully compatible with fender, with carrier, with kickstand, full integrated speed sensor, so full integrated cables, so really clean looking and really reliable technique inside of this bike. So ready to go with your kids on a big adventure, ready to go with your kids on the next mountain, ready to go with the kids to school. So very flexible and wide range bike for your kids. And here we go with the 26-inch version, a Mini-Me 26-inch. Basically same story like at the 24-inch, but with the tapered steerer and also with the carrier mount possibilities. This frame comes now with, or this bike comes now with the performance motor from Bosch, and it also comes with the 500 watt-hour battery, power tube battery inside. Not to forget the rather high-end RockShox fork for this 26-inch kit bike. From the Machina Mini-Me, from our young racers to the big racers. Till nowadays, most of the people of us think about a very conservative product at eBike. No, times are changing, and KTM has even their own racers which are just using e-bike. E-bikes for racing very hard enduros. And these racers are choosing our Machina Prowler. Here we go for the Machina Prowler Exonic, the finest bikes parts you can get on the market. So beside of the top of the line Fox suspension parts, you get also the very high-end carbon rim set from TT Swiss. It matches perfectly with the carbon frame of the Machina Prowler, so no glass fiber inside, just pure carbon fiber. And you get also the rear triangle in aluminium, which is very special kinematic setup. This very special kinematic setup means if you pedal a very steep climb, the tendency that the rear wheel or the complete bike moves backwards get compensated by the kinematic of the bike. So if you get very high torque on the crank, on the chain, the rear triangle gets a little bit out and prevents the falling back and the flipping back of you when riding very steep climbs. When going downhill and braking very hard, the rear triangle starts to get a little bit compressed, so this prevents you for flip over feeling when braking very hard. So it gives you a very safe riding and a very competitive riding feeling with this kind of bikes. This special kinematic you don't just find at the Prowler, you also find it at the Caboho, you find it at the LYCAN and Chicana, but not that aggressive because of less travel. So we come to the Caboho, which are in a wider range of our e-bike usage with 160mm travel on the front and on the rear. You can do everything with this kind of bikes. Even you can fit a fender and carrier on these bikes. These are so-called LFC ready. You can also fit a light system if you want. Light cables are already integrated here in the rear and in the front. Top of the line, you get carbon frame at the Caboho Prestige, at the Caboho Master and at the Caboho E-Lite. This bike is the Caboho Master with this fancy color Space Galaxy and the orange rear triangle. Features are the same like we know from the Prowler already. Also just only with 625 watt-hour battery, only with the new Bosch generation 4 motor. Details will Gerhard tell you afterwards. All of these Cabohos are coming with air shocks, with piggyback, like you see here at the Caboho Master. And in that case, the Caboho Master also offers the new Fox 36 fork. So here we go with the Caboho aluminium versions. So the Caboho 2971, 2972, 2973, which makes the more or less entry level of the Cabohos. In that case, you see the 2972 with this fancy plant green color. And don't forget about the Dimix. Dimix 27.5 on the rear, 29-inch in the front. You get Dimix at all of the Prowlers and all of the Cabohos. So very good grip on the rear and very precise steering performance because of this 29-inch front wheel. Here we go with the Machina LYCANs. LYCANs are a very well sold e-bike category because of the very wide usage of these bikes as well, similar to the Caporos, but these LYCANs are just coming in 27-inch front and rear tire size. So that means you can get these bikes also in XS frame size. So they are really good for lady bikes as well. You get these bikes also in two special lady bike specification in color scheme. That means Machina Glorious 271, like you see here, and Machina LYCAN Glorious 272 in the entry level. So altogether there are 4 LYCAN models, 2 Glorious and 2 standard color. All of these LYCANs are coming with an air shock. In that case, for the 271, air shock front and rear, complete RockShox suspension system, 1x12 drivetrain, 4-piston brake system, as you know from KTM as a standard in this kind of bikes. So the Machina Chakanas are the real SUV bikes at the KTM range. They are really designed for the long tourings, not too heavy terrain. So that means 125mm travel on the rear, 130mm travel on the front. So the bikes are not too high, so it gives you a safe riding feeling with a bit lower position, body position, so it's more safety when getting on and off the bike. Together with the 29-inch tires, the new Johnny Watt tires, which are not that aggressive, but gives you a good grip and a good riding performance in medium terrain. Together with these tires, it's a very safe and good overrolling performance of this bike, very safe bike, and these bikes are really good to equip with fenders, with carriers as well, so they are LFC ready, like you know from the Caporos and from the LYCAN. But we show that these bikes can do this LFC very well with an even own model, the Machina Chakana LFC. Yeah? The Machina Chakana 291 is without, is the off-road version, so it's the top of the line. We go 292, 293 and 294. 294 is a bit of exception. It comes with the 500 watt-hour battery, but all the rest is 625 watt-hours. So as mentioned, LFC ready, and we go to the LFC original equipped bike, and let's see the Machina Chakana LFC. Okay, so here we are already with the Machina Chakana LFC. As you see, fully equipped with the light fender and carrier system. So it's not just a cheap aftermarket plastic parts, no, it's real aluminium fender on the rear, on the front, very stable aluminium rails for your panniers, and with the full integrated light on the rear Buschemüller, in the front 150 lux light move system, everything already mounted, assembled on our side from the factory, so ready to go with the LFC for the big comfortable tour. This kind of LFC sets you get for all of the Chakanas for sure. You get the same or similar 27.5 spec for the LYCANs, and you get for sure for the Caporos carbon version and also Caporo aluminum version. Just call our factory, just call your dealer, you get the LFC set original made at KTM factory side.
We are proud to present you our new wheel set. It's called KTM Prime Trail Carbon. It's a new category beside the well-known XRC 1400 wheel from TT Swiss. It offers a weight of 1770 grams, and it's used in our cross-country hardtails and our full suspension bikes, for example Maroon and Scarp MT, for the second level beside the Xonic. We can see here all of the Bosch motors. There are no big changes on the mechanical side, but there are big changes on the software side of the Bosch Performance CX motor. You can see here on this presentation that's the torque of the motor changed from 75 Newton meters to 85 Newton meters. So that means the motor is much stronger than the model year before. In this slide you can see the new torque curve of the Performance 6 motor. It has been improved so that the 85 Newton meters are already available at 65 RPMs. Everyone knows the Kiox display from the past. There are some news available. Now you can have the full navigation in combination with your smartphone, and you can adjust your display modes by yourself. The new neon display is the high-end display of the Bosch range. It offers a 3.3 high resolution color display with a touch function. It offers some fitness functions. You can have the full navigation function. Therefore, a GPS chip is included inside this neon display. You have also the well-known lock function. When you pick off the display of the bicycle, the motor gets locked. And you can define your individual ride modes by yourself. Additionally, you can have the full connectivity by Wi-Fi and Bluetooth Low Energy to the well-known Bosch apps. For more comfort, we will offer a new seat post in our XL bicycles. It's designed for a higher load. It can catch up rider's weight from 150 kilograms in total. In model year 2020, we integrated the speed sensor already at the top bikes in the drop out of the frames. Now we increase the range of frames where this option is available. For this reason, we are using the different discs from Shimano you can see here on the screen. They all have an integrated magnet. As you can see here on the pictures, the sensor comes from the chainstay to the dropout of the bicycle frame. That reduces the danger of a malfunction.
So here we go with our E-MTB hardtails. So these hardtails lineup is basically very similar to the lineup from last year. So you get the lineup with a team with the PowerTube 625 and the CX motor. You get the race with the PowerTube 500, so with the bit more narrow, bit smaller down tube for the 500 watt-hour battery. And you get the version for the Generation 3 with undercover for the Machina ride. The team, we have one example here from the team series. It's the Glorious in that case. It's a new frame for the Glorious because it's a 27.5. Last year we didn't have the 27.5 frames for the teams. So 27.5 frames new, but the look and the specification is very, very similar to the 29-inch frames. So also the full integrated PowerTube battery with the removable cover on the down tube. The Glorious or Lady version is coming with the new Shimano Deore 1x11 drivetrain. So a very clean looking and stable MTB for the ladies. The teams are offering a very wide range of usage. You get beside the Glorious, you get the LFC version, close to similar to the Chicana version. And you get also, for the heavyweight guys and us, you get also an XL version. Our E-MTB hardtail lineup got extended already in the past with the so-called Machina Scout. Next year we call these not Scout anymore, we call them Aera. They get a new frame, very special frame. We call them PTS-FRAME PowerTube Sport. And it's complete new redesigned revolutionary frame which got designed by our designer Gerald Peham, and he will explain you all the details about this PTS frame. Here we go.
I proudly present you our new PTS frame, the PowerTube Sport frame. This frame is built around the Bosch CX motor with the PowerTube 625 watt-hours. The frame has an alloy battery cover the battery can be pulled out upright, and under this cover is also the charging plug and the lock for the battery. The heart of this frame is the circular power flow construction with the elevated chainstay, which are connected with the main tube, and a metal motor cover which is necessary for closing the power flow of this frame. This construction makes a very stiff frame with a deep step over height. The tire clearance of this frame is very big for 27-inch wheels and 28-inch. This construction is good so we can use this frame in a bright way. So we use this frame in the casual mountain bike range, the trekking off-road range and the on-road range.
So thank you, Gerald. Let's have a look to this PTS frame at the eras again. As mentioned, this is a frame for very wide usage with a rather low entry, so it's good for ladies, it's good for men. It's a real unisex frame with a real modern look. So no matter if you're elderly or a younger guy, so I would buy this kind of bike. It's really an attractive, sportive looking, low entry frame. You get this in this off-road version like you see here at the Aera 271. But you get also, for sure, as you know, as you're used to from KTM, you get it also with this LFC version. So Aera 271 or Aera 271 LFC, 625 watt-hours, CX motor. These are the key points of this Aera bikes. For customers with a little bit less budget, for customers who don't need a powerful, the extreme powerful Bosch CX motor, for customers who don't need this 625 watt-hours, they are happy with our new Aera 272. So Generation 3 performance motor, 500 watt-hour power pack from Bosch. And for sure you get this bike with the LFC version, Aera 272 LFC like here, or you get it naked as off-road version. So, and something completely new for next year are our so-called Grans. We know the name from the past as an urban bike, and now we have the new PTS-FRAME adapted for the urban use, for the city use. So you get this big volume tires, 55mm wide, you get this strong carrier, 25 kilogram maximum load with this PTS frame. So it's a very safe concept for the city, and you get this frame not just with this PTS frame like you see here with this modern PTS frame. You get this bike also with a man frame, but in that case it's a 29-inch only version. And that's the man version to the PTS version what we saw already or just saw right now, but as mentioned with this 29-inch tires. As we know from the Aeras, we get also a Gran with the Performance Generation 3 motor with the 500 watt power pack battery and with this super robust 25 kilo carrier. You get this with the low entry and you get this also with the man frame. And here it is, the man version with this undercover battery system with the low entry top tube version and as mentioned in the 29-inch tires. So we are now at the trekking on-road versions of our KTM bikes. So last year we started already to make a more detailed, more clear differentiation between the sportive and the comfortable versions. Sportive one coming with the 42 tires, with the light carrier, with a rigid stem, with a non-suspension seat post. The comfortable one is with the 50mm tires, with the tour carrier, so with the extra rail for the panniers, with the suspension, seat post and the jail saddle. But beside of this specification differentiation, we have different frame shapes when it comes to the lower entry frames. On the sportive side we have the PTS, and on the comfort side we have the extra low entry frame, the US frame. One model out of the sportive section I show you here right now. It's the Machina Sport 620. It's the PTS frame, what you can see here. You see how to open the cover, the aluminum cover. You see the battery located here. Very low position, so low center of gravity, very stable riding feeling, very important. And it's also the charging port is covered with this battery cover, so no problem with dirt or rain inside the charging port. Very clean looking. Beside this features of the PTS, you see clearly rigid seat post, rigid stem, and the light carrier. Machina Sport P610. It's a new frame. It's the performance frame, so with the generation 3 motor unit. The rest of the frame looks very, very similar to the generation 4 system, but one important change, one important improvement is the cable routing. So the cable routing of the generation 3 frames of the performance frame go straight through the headset into the frame. So very clean looking, no cable mess around here. So goes through the headset directly to the frame. So you get this cable routing as mentioned at all the new performance frames. One important point to know is you don't get an PTS frame at the generation 3 bikes. So I show you now one bike out of the comfort lineup. It's the top product, the top of the line, the Machina Style 610 Neon display. You know already from Gerhard. The frame is basically the same like last year, the PT625 frame. And this year with the wider tires, with the 50mm tires, together with the new carrier, new ragtime carrier, Snapit 1 and 2 compatible. So KTM has a special system. You can use Snapit 1 and 2 for this kind of carriers. The Machina Style 610 Neon you get in the man version, like here, you get it in the lady version and in the US version. Here we have the US frame, the low entry frame. It looks like a very simple frame basically, but especially such an US frame, such a low entry frame is a very complicated frame in terms of engineering. The tricky thing is you need to get the stiffness of the frame. Also you're missing the top tube, so you have to do some really technical details, some special points at this frame to get the high stiffness, to get the good riding feeling. Such a good riding feeling, we just won the Stiftung Warentest test a couple weeks ago because of this very good, stiff and direct riding feeling. And our senior engineer, Robert Henrich, will tell you some details about the engineering of such a frame.
This frame is mainly known from the last year together with the Gen 4 motor. The handling of the battery and the charging port is similar as last year. To offer this frame also with the Gen 3 motor, we developed a new bracket for this frame. As usual on our one-tube frames, this frame has two hollow chambers. One is in the down tube and one is in the motor bracket. These hollow chambers are very important for the rigidity of our frame. Rigidity is very important for the driving of our frame. This excellent driving behavior was approved by the Stiftung Warentest in the last test. We also changed the cable routing of this frame. The cable routing now leads from the spacers and the top cap of the headset directly into the frame. You can find this frame on the models Machina Tour and Machina City.
So, thank you, Robert, for the tour, to the engineering tour. Just don't forget, we also have such a frame in the City lineup. For example, this City 610 belt. So this technology, Robert explains to you, comes also with a belt drive, so very low maintenance system for the very tough urban use. And now, last but not least, Gerald will show you some ideas of a one bike which might come in the future. Thanks, Gary.
A very nice project for 2021 will be our transport bicycle. It's a family bike, a utility bike, a sport gear, who knows? But for sure it's an e-bike for everybody, for every use and any time.
After all, thanks for your attention. Thanks for being with us in the last couple of minutes. I hope you enjoyed our tour through the Model Year 21 KTM lineup. I wish you all the best in the name of the R&D team. Good luck for Model Year 21.